I admit that in the past I've been a nasty. They weren't kidding when they called me, well, a witch. But you'll find that nowadays I've mended all my ways, repented, seen the light, and made a switch. True, yes. What's up? What's up, queers? Keep singing, stop singing, keep singing. Yeah. God damn. Queers. Tell you what, man, them goddamn queers, man. Something's gotta be done about these fucking queers. Leave a Scar, greatest Manson song. I mean, it wouldn't even really be in my top 10. I don't know if it'd be in my top 50, but maybe it would. I don't fucking know. So finally, here you are. What do you mean finally? I do this all the time. Don't care, die. Okay. Very well. Very well then. What's up, TJ? I don't know. What's up with you? Jean Olivos. TJ, on a serious note, are you going to watch the sequel to Passion of the Christ? I don't know. Maybe. TJ, is suicide morally wrong or selfish? It is selfish. I'm sorry, is it selfish of me to rather have the loved ones stay alive and suffer so I don't have to suffer losing them? I mean, I guess it's selfish from a perspective and very unselfish from another perspective. I don't know. It's just like semantic, I guess. Here I go rocking again. TJ, why does my grandmother want me to wait on her hand and foot instead of having a life of my own? I think that's pretty obvious. She wants someone to wait on her hand and foot. I mean, is the appeal of that really hard to see? The real question is, why are you going along with it? TJ, can you say hi to my mom here? I said hi to her when I left her bedroom earlier. I said bye too. So we've already gone through those formalities today. Is he your son, TJ? Nah, the guy in front of me had correct change, so he got to go first. Pretty sure he's the father. I bet you hate 311 because their message is all about positivity. Maybe. Maybe so. Adam Sandler, DFF, or bust. You might not be disappointed. Feel good movie that you like. I don't know. Back to the Future. Is that a feel good movie? TJ the Neckbeard Fair. What? Uh-huh. Movie with the worst ending? Uh... There's a Schwarzenegger movie called I think it was called The Sixth Day. That has a pretty terrible ending that contradicts. It's like the ending contradicts the moral of the rest of the movie, so that makes no sense. I don't want to. I don't even want to get into how. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. There's a movie. What's that movie? Like High Tension or whatever, where it turns out that the girl who's been running from the killer is the killer, even though at one point they were in two separate vehicles. So it made no sense. What's a bad movie that has an ending that redeems it? Shit, I don't know. Society. I mean, the rest. I mean, the entirety of the movie is not terrible. It's just kind of forgettable. But the way it ends is just so fucking batshit crazy that it's what you're gonna remember walking out of the theater, or whatever, the DVR or whatever the fuck you're watching it on. What's a movie you like that most people hate? I really like the movie Death to Smoochie, but every time I try to show it to anyone else, they think it's like just horrible. So maybe that one. What's your favorite hood movie? Uh, Favorite hood movie? I don't know. You know, I've seen some hood movies, but I don't think any of them. Probably the first Friday. That's a good one. Good blend of. I mean, like the sequels all ended up being like totally outright comedies, but that one actually kind of blended comedy and uh, life in the hood kind of thing that was treated somewhat seriously. Uh, but it definitely had a sense of humor. It was a comedy. They just went overboard with it in future ones. Yeah, Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood and all that. I mean, there were some alright ones made. I mean, it's not my favorite genre. Obviously, it doesn't really connect much to me. I didn't live that life. And none of the movies, other than Friday, really presented it in a super relatable way. Is 8 Mile good? I still haven't watched it. Yeah, I mean, it's decent. I mean, it's not a fucking film classic or anything. It's basically just a remake of The Karate Kid, but with rap instead of karate. So, yeah, it hits a lot of the same dramatic points and shit. But it's good. It's not great. Eminem's actually a pretty good actor, so. Yeah, I mean, it's totally the Karate Kid. I mean, you just have Eminem is Daniel, obviously. He gets his ass kicked. He's taunted by these bullies. He's got this girl he's into, but he can't. He feels like too much of a loser to fucking really nail her and shit, and blah 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 blah. And then instead of a big karate tournament at the end, there's a big rap tournament at the end. So there's a lot of the same elements. I don't know if there's really a Miyagi in the movie. Probably Mekhi Phifer's character comes the closest. What the fuck is his name? It doesn't really matter. I think his name was The Future or something. So. Favorite non-traditional horror movie? Idiocracy. I never understood the infatuation with the mom spaghetti line. It got to the point where Eminem actually endorsed food carts called Mom Spaghetti at his concerts and shit. It's like, I don't get it. What's the fucking infatuation with that line? It's just kind of funny, I guess. I don't get it. Don't question memes, TJ. I have to. Favorite dystopian movie? Oh. I don't know. Dystopia. That's a lot of movies. There's a lot of dystopian movies. V for Vendetta is really good. I really enjoyed V for Vendetta, so. Why do I not like memes? I guess I don't usually get them. I usually think they're stupid and random. It's not to say, but you are a meme. Cool. But worst meme? I don't know. The worst one for me that got popular for a while was the floor is lava one, where the floor became various things. It's like, oh shit, I don't know. I usually just find them annoying and not funny. Memes are just in-jokes for people who pay too much attention to the internet. Yeah, I mean, I guess I get one occasionally here and there and think, oh, ha ha ha, that's kind of funny. But usually they're not. Favorite meme? Fuck, I don't know. I don't have one, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of cool when there's a porn meme and everyone's drawing smut. The Bowsette one is, or is it Bowsetta? I don't even know. But that's pretty interesting. But I think when they started drawing all the porn of the Wendy's chick, that was kind of cool. Okay, this is epic. You have a strange definition of epic. The European Union banned memes. Well, they were bound to do something right eventually, right? The Wendy's porn was too good. Now you can only get off to fast food mascots, huh? Kill Bill or Death Sentence? I don't know what Death Sentence is. I guess Kill Bill. Will you condemn your fan to death? No, I need it. I've already explained this. What are your thoughts on Jews? They fart like Ben Shapiro and his damn Jew farts. I predict there will be a food fight-like movie starring all the fast food mascots. Damn. I hope that doesn't happen. Ben Shapiro, Jew fart. Ben Shapiro, Jew queef. Ah. Bruh. Batgirl or Catwoman? Definitely Catwoman. Apparently Sarah wants to fuck Colonel Sanders. That's interesting. Chapter 4, Chi-J, when it coming? I don't know. I've begun to work on it, so it's in the process now. I started writing it yesterday or the day before. Now I realize I have to fucking figure out this goddamn matter. I shouldn't even talk about it till I've formulated it. Create a Twitch channel. You'll make a hell of a lot more. It's not really my priority. Shouldn't conservatives like abortions since it's mostly liberal women getting abortions? They wouldn't want more kids raised by liberals. I don't know. It's a fair point. You'd have to ask a Republican about that. Ben Shapiro, Jew fart. Ben Shapiro, Jew fart. Republicans don't exist. Yeah, good point. That's a fair point, sir. Who's next to get Me Too'd? I don't know. I feel like it's running out of steam. We'll see.
Did Bill Cosby deserve his sentence? Probably so, yeah. I mean, the crime he was found guilty of, it seems fair. How does it feel having a possible rapist on the Supreme Court? Well, he hasn't been on the Supreme Court yet. But honestly, I care way more about his policy positions than I do what he may or may not have done in high school. I mean, yeah, if he's a rapist, that's probably a sign that his character is shitty, but I already know his character is shitty just because of his politics. So, I mean, yeah. The real outrage should be his stance on these issues. I mean, how he would rule on the Supreme Court is way more of a concern than some sexual improprieties from his past, in my opinion. You sound like Kyle Kalinske. Good. Kyle Kalinski's right about it. If that's what he says, then I haven't watched him talking about the Kavanaugh thing because, it's just everywhere. I don't even want to hear more about it. I just am so sick of people acting like it means something. I mean, I talked about this on the last show. It's just a rights shuffling contest. Like, we're going to give you this right. We're going to take this right away. We're going to give you this right. We're going to take this right away. It's like, okay, I get it. You guys are toying with us. Great. That's wonderful. It's great to feel like, how about you just give us all the rights and you stop bombing other countries and we just stop, with this electoral college bullshit. We stop with this Supreme Court bullshit. Like, this shouldn't even be a thing. There shouldn't be some council of the wise elders that are going to decide things for us. And they're appointed for life. No matter how old and senile and unfit for the job they get, they can just do it forever. Even if they make shitty decisions and they're garbage, they shouldn't be accountable to the people at all. They shouldn't be accountable to anybody. They should just, once you're a Supreme Court justice, that's it. You're a Supreme Court justice for life, unless the very unlikely event of your impeachment, which it's never, I don't even think it's happened. Maybe it has. Like, how long are we going to pretend the Founding Fathers had it all figured out? Like, when are we going to revisit this system of governance and say, hey, interesting experiment, but not really working. Let's see if we can do better. I'm not saying, I mean, like, the system of governance that they came up with is really great. At least it was for the time. But maybe we could make some tweaks now. Maybe it's time to say, hey, let's kind of revisit this and maybe sort of rebuild it, I just feel like we could maybe come up with some better ways of doing things now if we really put our minds to it. Of course, when I look around this species, I don't know where I get that confidence, but I don't know. I feel like there's some good ideas floating around out there. The problem is the framework of our current system sucks. So, I don't know. Like, maybe Supreme Court justices should have term limits. Maybe we could just add that. Like, hey, you're going to be a Supreme Court justice for the next 7 years. And then we'll reevaluate and see, hey, what did this person do? Oh, it turns out they suck. Do you think art will eventually be censored? What do you mean eventually? It's censored now. Judge Judy should be on the Supreme Court. Part of me recognizes that as a bad idea, but another part of me is tempted to say yes. Yeah, I think that the veneration for the founders definitely verges onto religion. It's like they were flawless beings, and everything they said was right, and anything that they told us to do, we have to do. And then you point out, well, Thomas Jefferson seemed to think that, you know, we shouldn't be governed by the past and that we should do what works best for our time and place and not be beholden to their whims. Oh, well, not him, but like the other founders. Like Hamilton, you know? Oh, okay. I gotcha. Yeah, Thomas Paine as well. Damn, Kuhlman deleted whatever that was fast. From Oprah. Oh, he's just banning the Ben Shapiro Jew farts. I guess he's sick of it. I can't blame him. Would prostitution be the solution for incel mass shooters? I don't know. Give it a shot. It's a good idea anyway. Give it a shot. Pun intended, no. Pun was not intended. Do a rap, TJ. I can't rap. Can sex robots walk? I don't know. I've never had a sex robot. Ever been friend zoned, TJ? Not that I can recall. How old were you when you discovered you were bisexual? I don't know. Probably like 11 or 12. Free pizza for life or free burgers for life? I mean, pizza is always useful. AIDS incoming. Why couldn't Ken get Barbie pregnant? Because he came in another box. Also, he was anatomically incorrect, so was she, for that matter. I mean, it's pretty clear they both had no genitalia, so it's really no wonder. Who cares about anatomy? They reproduce through osmosis. Oh. Who's yelling? John Tron, I believe. We need robot sex worker or something. Tell him to shut up. Yo, John Tron, be quiet, bitch. Shut up. Go get to work on a new video. It's been like 9 months or some shit. Lazy. Racism did not exist. Do you think the experience of a woman getting raped by a guy is worse than a man getting raped by a girl? I don't know. Do you like H3 Productions? No, I don't watch it. How long do you think you could last in a boxing match with Mike Tyson? I don't know. How long does it take Mike Tyson to throw a punch? Lil Wayne is about to blow up CV. Cool. What's my best voice impression? I do a mean TJ. Check this out.
Hi, I'm TJ Kirk. I'm a fat, stupid, atheist piece of shit. Oh!
Pretty good, huh? What is your IQ? It's over 9,000, as the old meme would say. Whatever. My crystal meth levels are over 9,000. Chest bump. Shit. TJ needs love. JF impression. Paul can do a pretty decent one. Scotty can do a good one. I cannot do one. Last time you did. I don't remember doing it. Do 10 push-ups or you'll die. I think that or should be an and, dude. No, I'm not gonna see Manson. I'm gonna see Manson a few days before Halloween at Voodoo Fest or whatever. Do a barrel roll. No, I hate barrels and I hate rolls, so I'm not doing either. Oh. When's the last time you've been to the gym? I don't remember. Predict the location of the next mass shooting. America. Eek heist do? I don't know. Blink a few times. Hope that was adequate. Have you ever been cheated on? I've never caught anyone cheating on me. So... Is Star Trek the animated series worth a watch? No, it's really bad. Dogs. Dogs over cats for sure. Were you smarter than your teachers? That was no bragging, right? When is the next Peterson or Shapiro video? I don't know. I've done Crowder videos in the past, but for some reason, I mean, it's not like I haven't taken a look at his stuff. I mean, I've looked through it a few times thinking, oh, maybe I'll do something on him. And usually I can't really find anything that seems like I want to respond to it. And he's been pretty protective about his content in the past, at least where I'm concerned, so I don't know. I mean, I'm open to the possibility of doing it, but I don't know. I just have to see the right video from him. Is all morality subjective? Yep. I feel like I mean, chapter 2 of my book was all about that. The Darth Vader video I put up a few days ago was all about that. Even though some idiots think it was actually about Darth Vader. But whatever. I guess I asked for that. The Darth Vader video is a masterpiece. Oh, well, thank you. I don't know about that, but I was fond of it. I mean, I liked the way it came out. I actually feel like I said a lot of the stuff I wanted to say in chapter 2 of my book better in the Darth Vader video.
Everyone relies on Pepsi, man, to solve their problems by restocking Pepsi machines. Yeah, okay.
Pepsi Man.
I'm gonna call it a vending machine again. Ran out of Pepsi. No, just on my way there. Oh my God, that's like real desperation in that man's voice. He sounds like his family's been taken hostage. Whoa.
Sorry, I was just turning the volume down on that. Oh shit, a super chat. Randy, there's been another school shooting. Cool. I like school shootings. That's fun. So we talk about morality. Morality can be objective if you view it as the most optimal rules for humans thriving and survival. I don't think so. Wrong, it's objective. If you base it on well-being, it becomes objective. Oh yeah, because well-being, that's totally defined objectively and empirically. I mean, whose well-being? Jeffrey Dahmer's? What are your thoughts on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? It's a good movie. Is anything truly objective? Yeah, there's plenty of things that are truly objective. You know, the chemical composition of water is objective. I mean, the various provable, testable things discovered by science are objective. But a lot of the things that human beings base their existence on is not objective. I mean, you could even really argue against the objectivity of things like scientific facts by pointing out that we can't prove that we even exist. So there's that, I guess. But I think we can allow ourselves a few assumptions. Whew. We die sooner without sleep. Okay. Colossal is Crazy made a video about you. Yeah, like a million years ago. South Park season premiere thoughts? I didn't even know. I've given up. I'm done with it. Well-being is the foundation of objective morality, moral objectivity. Anything that aids well-being is good. Anything that doesn't is bad. Okay. Well, once again, what's well-being? What does that even mean? And I mean, even if we could define well-being in such a way that it's concrete and not subjective, you'd still have to prove that well-being is the best metric for morality. Like, you'd have to prove that the well-being of human beings is in some way desirable outside of our own desires for it. I mean, it just seems like at the end of the day, what you're talking about is just intersubjective consensus between peoples, and that can never be objectively true. Well-being is that which fulfills basic human needs, like food, I guess. Food, clothing, shelter, that kind of stuff, right? Thoughts on MythCon? Looked like a bunch of shit to me. These ideas are too big for TJ's feeble mind. Yeah, that must be it. The universe cares not for our well-being. Well, yeah, obviously it doesn't care. I always find it interesting that the people who believe in objective morality can never tell you what it is. You know? There's all these different groups of people with totally different moral systems all claiming, we found it. Objective morality. Ah. And it seems like they all disagree. It's weird. You know, like, scientists aren't like quibbling over like, I think water's H2O. Well, I think it's O2H, bitch. Uh-oh, science feud. And if there is something like that, then it's settled by further research and things. It seems like these objective morality arguments don't really meet the standards of scientific fact. But, you know, whatever. What's the difference between hormone therapy and eugenics? I'm honestly having trouble. I don't really know what you mean by hormone therapy, so sounds like postmodernism, TJ. It should. If I were to argue for objective morality, which I don't believe in, I would say that anything you do that intentionally harms another human being is immoral. Well, in that case, there's a whole lot of immoral stuff going on in this world that no one seems to have a problem with, or at least very few do. A lot of people don't fully understand the meaning of objective, it seems. Yeah, I don't think they do either, but that's okay. It's really weird to try to convey one's love of fictional but fun mythology lore when the person you're talking to actually believes in ancient Jew gods and blood and flesh sacrifice. I could see that being a problem. Hunter Avalone made a new video just now and owned you. Cool. Well, I told him that if he wanted to continue our discussion, he could continue it in person, so I'm not really interested. Norse mythology is pretty awesome. Yeah, I agree. Hashtag rape all hunters. Jeez. Are you as serious about the big chief as Paul is? Because Paul seems really serious about going there. I am. You are competing with a Patreon ideology now. Oh, shit. Well, I'll guess I'll be for the cheapskates then. Talk about oatmeal. Yeah, I like peaches and cream, but they never seem to sell it by itself anymore. Do you catch Manson on tour with Rob Zombie? Which was a good time. No, I didn't get to see it. Jello? What about Jello? What's my opinion on hypnosis? I don't know. I guess that some people are susceptible to it. I've never found it to work on me. But who knows? I guess Vadim at MythCon was so bad. Yeah, why would you watch that? Yeah, Paul claims that he's very susceptible to hypnosis, but I'm not, so. I was listening to Bloodhoney earlier. What's your favorite thing to smoke weed from? Probably a joint. What is your IQ? I need to know. I told you it's over 9,000. Yeah, I don't really care for bongs. I like joints because I can smoke at my own pace. You can take a big hit if you want a big drag. It's really easy to modulate exactly how much weed you're getting with each draw. I hate pipes because at some point you're just smoking ash, and that's no fun. Yeah, vapes are cool. Like volcanoes and the pens with the concentrate and shit. Those are fun. Dabs make me feel like I'm gonna die, so those are not great for me. If my father, a Star Wars and philosophy guy, made a video essay response to your Darth Vader video, would you watch it and respond to it? Please talk with my dad. Sure. I mean, if he feels like he has an interesting perspective, I'd probably take a look at it, I guess. I don't know if I'd talk to him directly, but if he wanted to make a response, I'd certainly take a look if you sent it to me. I don't know. If he's super into philosophy, he's probably going to know a lot more about the history of philosophy than I do. I kind of just walk my own path, but clearly I have influences and things, but I don't know. I feel like I derive more philosophy from art than I do directly from philosophers. But yeah, whatever. I have a rudimentary enough knowledge I could probably follow whatever he was saying. Do I think I'm a sociopath? No, I don't think I'm a sociopath. I think I have some antisocial tendencies, but I don't think it rises to the level of sociopathy. Is Manson a big influence on me? I think that's fucking obvious. CBD or THC? THC. Exactly what a sociopath would say. Maybe. A lot of people see you as a complete sociopath. Lol. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to deny that I have some tendencies here and there, but I don't feel like I'm incapable of experiencing empathy. I don't feel like I'm as selfish as a sociopath is, although I can definitely be selfish. I don't necessarily have the warm and fuzzy feelings about the human race that other people do. I don't think that's an offshoot of sociopathy. I think that's just a misanthropy born out of disappointment for the squandered potential of the species. Would you feel badly if you ran someone over? Oh yeah. I don't really even like to inconvenience people for the most part. I can definitely be a prick sometimes, but for the most part, I try to be very considerate. I don't like inconveniencing people or confronting people or giving people a hard time unnecessarily. I understand that everyone has their own problems and burdens to bear, and I'm not really looking to pile onto that. I definitely wouldn't want to actually hurt somebody in any sort of concrete way. I try to avoid those sorts of instances. I did run over a cat once in my car, and I wasn't broken up about it, but it certainly bummed me out. Like I wasn't in tears or anything, but it was certainly unpleasant and something I wish that hadn't happened. I don't know what it is below my nostril. I think it's just a skin tag or something. It's been there for quite some time. No, it's not cancer. It's been there for many, many years. Yeah, I am prone to ingrown hairs, so I think it might have just. I think it might be just some sort of really bad, like deeply entrenched blackhead or something. Oh shit! At this angle, it kind of is. But I'm not a very vain person usually. Deeply entrenched blackhead. I mean, I'm very prone to them, so. I have to clear out my pores on a pretty much daily basis. Am I glad that 9/11 happened? No. I think it led to the downfall of. I don't really want to overstate how bad it was in terms of not just the event itself, but the aftermath engineered by the Bush administration. I mean, it was a huge curtailing of civil liberties that people just blindly accepted in the name of safety. And of course, it led us into the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War, which has been a tremendous drain on our resources. You know. Bush didn't do 9/11, but he did the aftermath of 9/11, which is actually worse. If you wanted to ask me who was the bigger criminal between George W. Bush and Osama bin Laden, and which one deserved a worse fate, I'd probably say George W. Bush. He sent way more people to their deaths than Osama bin Laden could have ever dreamed of, and destroyed civil liberties in this country. Like, if I could go back in time to when George W. Bush and Osama bin Laden were still in their relative positions of power and choose which one was going to be brought to justice, I would have said Bush, and I still would. Did Bush make those decisions, or was he a puppet of the deep state? He's just part of the deep state, or what you would term the deep state. Just a figure. I mean, yeah, he's the figurehead. Obviously, there's much smarter people, or people who are ostensibly smarter than him, making actual decisions. But yeah, he's basically a buffoon. Good fall guy for them, though. Is Kavanaugh guilty until proven innocent? That's not how it's supposed to be. But, you know, when very serious allegations are made against somebody, and if those allegations are credible enough to be testified in front of Congress, then surely they're credible enough to warrant an investigation. And if no evidence is found to support the stories, then, I mean, that shouldn't... I mean, he should obviously be treated as an innocent man at that point. I I think Bill Hicks was a bigger loss than Kurt Cobain, personally. But, you know, I don't know if that's necessarily true. That's just my personal feelings. TJ has weapons of ass destruction. USA, USA. Thank you for the money. I don't really know what your comment means. Looking at the news, how could anyone not be an absurdist? I think frequently people are. As much as I was shitting on memes a moment ago, I do like one thing about memes. They do show that there is an absurdist streak among the new generations coming up in this strange, depraved new world of ours. Making it rain. Now let me ask you a question. Sure. Robin Williams was certainly a tremendous talent. Obviously, Bill Hicks was a tremendous talent as well. But when it comes to the subject matter of Bill Hicks's comedy versus Robin Williams' comedy, Robin Williams was always going for sort of the slice of life, observational humor. With a lot of big bombastic impressions and stuff. Bill Hicks's comedy was animated by him actually having things to say on a political, social, philosophical level, and there was some observational stuff in there as well. But I tend to favor the heavier material of Hicks to the lighter fare of Robin Williams. I would say I prized Hicks above Williams myself. But Robin Williams, though, you have to also appraise him not just as a comedian, but as an actor. And, of course, he had some really great dramatic performances, as well as a few decent comedic ones here and there. I didn't really ever care for many of his film comedies, some of them, but I don't know, his talents weren't always well utilized there. He actually was better as a dramatic actor. Now, a lot of the stuff he made, though, was really insufferable pap, inspirational horse shit. Patch Adams, wretched movie. Actually quite an immoral movie if you actually look at the real Patch Adams. And the true story, the movie distorts his legacy in a lot of really sort of disgusting ways. But yeah. Yeah, I don't care for Hook. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people really enjoy Hook. I think the concept is great. I think it's a brilliant fucking concept. I just don't think they had the right tone with it. I feel like the movie works for me up until they meet the Lost Boys, and it's just the 90s-ist shit you've ever seen with, like, basketball hoops and, like, skating rink bullshit, whatever the fuck, those half pipes and shit, and I don't know. It's a little lame for me. I don't know. It feels like they sucked the edge out of it. The Lost Boys, they're supposed to be primal and connecting with the wild child aspect of all of us. Instead, it was just very PG, and they trade insults like, booger-faced, snot-nosed, bubble-butt, retard, not even retard, that's too edgy, I don't know. And Rufio, lame fuck, You know, he sucked. And I mean, Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell. I mean, what the fuck is that? And why'd she play it all innocent and cutesy? I mean, Tinkerbell is a live wire. She's supposed to be kind of a bitch. I don't get it. I don't know. You know, the only thing that kind of saves the movie is, I mean, Robin Williams, of course, does okay in it, and Dustin Hoffman and fuck it, the Roger Rabbit guy, Bob Hoskins. You know, their on-screen chemistry was fucking off the charts. So every scene with them is just preeminently enjoyable, but the majority of the movie, I don't know, just couldn't get into it. I know a lot of people really like it, and you know, God bless them. Dave Chappelle is great. If you could redo Hook, how would you change it? Well, first of all, I wouldn't have had. I mean, I just you could just reverse engineer it from my criticisms. I would not have had Julia Roberts playing Tinkerbell. I would not have had Tinkerbell be a cute little pixie. I'd have had her be a fucking cunt like she was in the Disney original animation. You know, have a sense of mischief. The Lost Boys would be way more primal and kind of like verging on Lord of the Flies territory. You know, way more scenes with Bob Hoskins and Dustin Hoffman, way more focus on Hook. I mean, you know, a lot of the superfluous elements could be cut out of the movie. You know, there's just too much of that Spielberg magic bullshit. It just rubs me the wrong way. I want Bill Cosby to give me a Rufio. Super popular movie that I think is overrated. I mean, Hook could be one. I don't really see what the big deal is about Seven. Sorry. I mean, it's a good movie. It's just not. I don't understand the sheer starry-eyed veneration of the film. Citizen Kane, considered by many critics to be the greatest movie of all time, and surely a pioneer of many filmmaking techniques that became standard afterwards. But does that really make it a great movie? I mean, it's shot well, but I mean, the focus of the film is just on an obsessive, narcissistic asshole who, yeah, I mean, I guess he's kind of an interesting character, but I don't know. I don't feel like a character study of a narcissistic, corrupted tyrant of a businessman is really all that fertile ground for a story that's, you know, like the greatest movie of all time should really make some sort of profound statement about humanity, and I feel like its focus is way too narrow for that. But maybe that's just because I'm looking at it by a different standard. Taxi Driver is a great movie. Poorly rated movie you think is actually pretty good. I don't know. That's a tougher one. Missed my super chat, biatch. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Where is it? I don't see it. Okay, I've scrolled quite a ways. Oh, there it is. Jordan Peterson did a video reviewing a Democratic Party rebranding video. Can you watch it and give your thoughts? I thought it was actually good. All right, I'll take a look at it. Go ahead and send it to me on Twitter if you can. RoboCop 2 is a movie that I appreciate, that I understand has a lot of critics. So there's that. Since this stream is named after Jean-Luc Picard, I think it's worth mentioning that there's an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, and I can't remember the title of the episode, but it's a pretty maligned episode that's not well liked at all, that I think is pretty decent, actually. They go to this planet where everyone is basically about as naked as you could get on 80s television, and it's like this paradise planet, but for some reason they don't bother studying the local laws, so it turns out that every crime that you commit carries a death sentence, and Wesley Crusher tramples a flower bed, which is against the law, so they're going to euthanize him. And of course, Captain Picard and the crew are not down with that, although I think they should have been. But he gets held on trial, and they wrestle with we're not supposed to interfere because the Prime Directive, but blah blah blah. Typical Prime Directive story where it's, oh shit, the Prime Directive has put us in a sticky situation. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Dude, that episode was so weird. LMAO, when the naked people jogged around with Wesley. Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's a weird one, and it definitely has a lot of problems, but I think there's enough cool things that make it work. I like the half-naked people. That's always a good touch. I like the idea of a society that's almost paradisical, but actually is quite draconian underneath the surface. I like the fact that it has a big Picard speech in it. That's kind of cool. I always like a good Picard speech, so I can't hate the episode. No, I haven't watched Star Trek Discovery yet. I'm adverse to it. I can't fucking bring myself to like it. I like 80% of TNG episodes, even if they have bad acting or something, because the ideas are so interesting. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. Sometimes they come up with concepts that are better than the results. And I think that's the episode I was talking about, which of course I can't remember the name of, is a good example of that phenomena of, oh, here's this really cool, interesting idea of this society that seems like a sort of a hippie, free love paradise on the surface, but is actually quite draconian. I think that's cool. I like the episode where Data has to go to the planet that's going to be eradicated by the Shellyak, and he has to convince the colonists to flee for their lives, and they want to stay and fight, and he has to figure out how to convince them, despite the fact that he's not able to be very emotionally persuasive, having no emotions himself. You have a favorite character in Voyager? Yeah, I would say I have 3 characters in Voyager that I really like. Janeway, the Doctor, and Seven of Nine. I'm kind of conflicted as to which one I would choose as my very favorite, but I think probably the Doctor. I like his smug asshole attitude. You gotta wait here for a minute. So I wanted to ask you guys about something Star Trek related. I see we have some Star Trek fans in here that are familiar. I was watching earlier a video about the worst TNG episodes, the best TNG episodes. This guy was he had a couple of videos on his channel, and it kind of struck me just the crazy fluctuations in quality that you have on that show as compared to modern day television. And it kind of made me wonder, is consistency killing greatness? Because you think about the best shows of today, and it seems to me like they're pretty consistently the same quality throughout. You know, there's some standout episodes, but it's usually episodes stand out because of some big moment in the episode, you know, rather than just being, oh wow, that story was so cool. So it kind of feels like serialization and the need to make everything consistent in tone throughout has kind of harmed the capacity to do something that's just breakout great, you know? Because Star Trek, it was so willing to gamble and take risks and do new things that, you know, I mean, the result is you have some episodes that are just, I mean, they just wildly vary in quality. Like, some are just total shit, and some are fucking masterpieces, and other ones are just, you know, kind of somewhere in between. And it seems like a lot of shows now, it's like, hey, if you don't like one episode of this, you're probably not going to like the next. And if you do like it, you're probably going to like the next just fine. I mean, I think of shows like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or something like that. And, you know, they're good, but, you know, it's pretty much, you know what to expect every week. There's nothing that's really going to break out and be like, holy shit, you know? I miss that. I hate that everything is so rigidly controlled now. It's like, because they're afraid that if they make one bad episode, everyone's going to turn their back on it, and they're probably right, because that's just the mentality of people now. I think another thing that really hurts a lot of these shows is that the seasons just aren't long enough to experiment with. You know, if you're only going to do 10 or 11 episodes for a season, then of course you're not going to feel free to, hey, let's try out this wild idea. Let's just do a crazy episode, you know? They're not going to do it because it's just, there's not enough fucking room. There's not enough room to do some wild digression or some episode that you never saw coming. It's kind of unfortunate. Well, you know, like, obviously when you got to fill 24 episodes, you're going to have a lot of fluff and you're going to have a lot of filler. But sometimes the fluff and the filler can be the best shit, because that's when they let you try the crazy, weird ideas. What about there's an episode of Deep Space Nine. I think it's actually one of the worst reviewed episodes on IMDb. It might be the worst reviewed episode on IMDb, actually. Where Quark gets a sex change and has to negotiate a business deal as a woman, and he ends up having to have sex with this male Ferengi, and all this crazy shit happens. And apparently it's one of the worst reviewed episodes. It makes people uncomfortable. It disturbs them. But goddamn, to me, that's one of the best fucking episodes of that series, because it's just so off the wall and so weird. And it actually does to me what good science fiction is supposed to do, which is examine things that are uncomfortable or icky, or that don't really have any sort of necessarily analogous component in real life. Yeah, I mean, a lot of filler is character development. A lot of it's like, hey, let's give, like one of my least favorite characters on Star Trek: The Next Generation. I don't want to say one of my least favorite, because that'd be like Crusher and shit, but Wesley Crusher, obviously. Although I'm not too fond of his mother either. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, I'm not I'm not a huge Riker fan, but there were episodes devoted to Riker that I thought were fucking, wow, that was cool. I mean, that really, Jonathan Frakes did a fucking bang up job and actually made me give a shit about this character that to me is usually just kind of like, like, titillating. Yeah, that's a good word. There was an episode where he's doing a play about this person who's in a mental institution, and then he finds out that he actually is in a mental institution, and they're telling him that all of his all of the stuff he remembers about the Enterprise is just all in his head, and it's part of his delusions. And the episode's just a total mind fuck where it like bends reality, and you never know what's real and what's not, and there's so many fake outs as to what's really going on, and you just, by the end of it, you just feel like, God damn, I don't really know what the fuck is happening, but in a good way. Like, it keeps you guessing. You know? But that's not even, he's not even the strongest character on the show, but he could still carry a fucking episode. So, I mean, you know, you wouldn't know that if you didn't roll those dice. What's the best Star Trek episode? Probably Best of Both Worlds. I mean, it's just legendary. How do I feel about the way Dexter ended? I was a little bit more forgiving of the ending than other people were. I think that it at least threw you for a loop, but I don't know how much credit you get for that when the loop is so dumb, you know? Yeah, I feel like it was kind of interesting because Breaking Bad and Dexter ended around the same time, and the Breaking Bad finale was pretty much everything you expected it to be. There was no real big surprise in how it wrapped up. It pretty much went how you would have predicted. It delivered everything the fans expected and everything the fans wanted, and it was praised. And the Dexter ending just did the fucking it went nowhere that anyone was expecting it to go, but where it went was fucking retarded. So it was hated. But I just wonder if it was hated because it didn't meet those expectations. That'd be really unfortunate if that were the case. But I think it's probably just the case that the direction they went was stupid. Yeah, seasons 1 through 4 of Dexter were definitely pretty good. I don't know, 3 got a little weak, but nothing compared to what it would become later on. Subverting expectations is only good if it exceeds the original expectation. Yeah, and the problem is that what people really wanted to see is Dexter revealed. People wanted to see all of the people who knew him find out that they'd been had the whole time, discover his true nature, and react to it, and figure out how they feel about it. And we just didn't get that, so that kind of sucks. TNG explores a lot of interesting ideas, but the acting and the plot is not that good. I don't know. The acting is. I mean, I feel like a lot of the acting is pretty good, but it could definitely be bad sometimes. I don't know. It just depends on who's directing the episode, and you know, I've seen some of the actors give both good and bad performances. Marina Sirtis was pretty much universally bad. I can't even really. I mean, I think she's the only one that's universally bad across the spectrum of the series. Even Wesley had a few episodes he was okay in, like the one where he's on. He's not on trial, but he's being investigated, I guess, for the death of a friend of his. I didn't finish Dexter. Spoil it for me. Dexter realizes that he's never going to be able to fit in with polite society, so he pretends to drown and fakes his own death and then becomes a lumberjack. I'm not joking. That's actually how it ends. I don't know if it's the worst ending ever, but it's pretty bad. Dexter's a lumberjack now. Okay. Well, I'm glad I committed 8 years of my life to that. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, now he kills trees. Good stuff. Fucking serial tree killer. Who's the worst Vulcan? Spock's brother from the 5th Star Trek movie. Do you think they can make an R-rated Star Trek? I mean, they definitely could. Am I the only one who couldn't stand Hannah? Who's Hannah? Yeah, I think it was Cybok or something like that. Why are the Star Trek movies so bad? Let's go through that question. So, the first Star Trek movie is bad because it's really slow. The second Star Trek movie is actually really good. There's a lot of hammy overacting and stuff, but it's really quite well paced. A little slow to start, but once it gets its fucking footing, it does a pretty damn good job. Throws you a few curveballs, really there's some great emotional moments in it too. Star Trek 3, Search for Spock, mediocre. I wouldn't really say it's a bad movie. It's not great. Star Trek 4, I think that was the one with the whales. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's a little cheesy, but I like it. Star Trek 5, they let Shatner direct, so that was a mistake. Star Trek 6, I honestly cannot even remember what the fuck happened in. I know that they had a... Was that the one where Christopher Lloyd was a fucking Klingon? Or am I thinking of a different one? That might have been 3. 6 is actually, I hear it's pretty good. I haven't watched it, and I know I saw it as a kid, but I haven't watched it as an adult, so I couldn't tell you much about it. Let's see. Then they made the TNG movies, which I think were just uniformly disappointing. Generations was a mess. There was some cool stuff here and there. They gave Data the emotion chip, and he just became insufferable as a character. Went from like, Data's my favorite character, to like, Data is an annoying piece of shit. Take the emotion chip out. Then First Contact, probably the best of the Next Generation movies, but just makes very little narrative sense. There's a time travel plot that's always bad. Not always, but it can be pretty annoying. They try to turn Picard into a fucking action hero. Makes no sense. Insurrection just felt like a bad episode of Star Trek that for some reason was a movie. There was nothing cinematic about that story. I don't know what the hell they were thinking going with that story to begin with. Nemesis had a cool concept, but seriously lacked a good execution. I don't think it's quite as bad as its rap, but it's not a great one. Then you have the J.J. Abrams films, which are kind of just popcorn movies, feel more like Star Wars movies. I guess Justin Lin directed the third one, so those are, I mean, the first two are okay. You know, they're all right popcorn movies. The third one isn't even good as that. So, yeah. that pretty much runs it down. So I feel like you're right. Most of them have been pretty shit. There's a few good ones here and there. The only really good one is Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. So I could definitely see your point. I think it probably just is the case that Star Trek works better on the small screen than the big one. That's not to say you couldn't make a badass Star Trek movie. It's just it's a little bit more of a juggling act. So most of the Star Trek movies are bad. Yeah, I'd say so. Bad to mediocre. It's a television show. It's not a cinematic franchise. I mean, it is, but that's not where it shines. I would say don't get me wrong, the only Star Trek movies that are truly just wretched are probably 5 is probably the worst one. Generations, it's not too good. Insurrection sucks completely, so 2 of the Next Generation movies flop. And then the third of the new series is really bad. I think the rest are kind of verge from mediocre to pretty decent to one of them being outright good. I'll defend First Contact to the death. I mean, whatever. It's definitely the best of the Next Generation movies, but I don't know. I don't think it's as good as like several episodes of the TV series, so. The whole scene is worth the price of admission. I mean, like I said, it's not a bad movie. It just does. It makes a lot of peculiar choices that aren't really consistent. Everyone said Beyond was better than both Abrams movies. I don't know. Well, I'm part of everyone, and I don't say that, so everyone doesn't say that. Beyond is, yeah, it's no good. It's really, really fucking bad, honestly. There's not much to like about it. The Abrams films were way better. The Borg Queen is a lazy idea, honestly. I don't know. I liked her. I thought she was pretty cool. The shows of today are better, but you cannot like them. You cannot like all of them, of course, but the quality has improved. I do prefer if they last less. That way you can watch more shows with different but good ideas. I think there's definitely been something of a renaissance on TV in terms of television seems way more open to subversive ideas and tones than movies are nowadays. You definitely see way more tits and ass on these shows, so that's a cool thing. It seems like they're actually more mature and adult than movies are now in terms of the ideas that they're willing to explore and the characters they're willing to get into. But I feel like in other ways they really don't take big risks. I really wouldn't mind if it was just some shows, but it seems like there's nothing out there that's willing to do something that's totally off the fucking wall and experiment and be bold. Because there's, like I said, there's this marriage to the concept of consistency and quality, which sounds like a good thing, but, if you're not willing to do something that might suck, then you're probably not going to stumble upon something that's great either. I take it you haven't seen Star Trek Discovery yet. No, I haven't. Unpopular opinion. Better Call Saul is trash and all of its fans are just Breaking Bad leeches. I would not know. I've not watched it. So... Thoughts on Castlevania show? Yeah, it's good. I liked it. I'm waiting for more. Black Mirror really doesn't solve the consistency issue because there's not enough. You know, they are obviously super selective about the episodes they produce. I admit that it's not completely consistent in quality, and they do take some narrative risks, but it seems like they're still being way too choosy and safe with their choices. I think there's usually like 5 or 6 episodes of Black Mirror a season, like, or less. Like, if there was, imagine all the crazy shit they'd be doing if there was 24 episodes in a season of that show. They'd be trying all kinds of shit. And would there be way more shitty ones? Yes. But would there be way more great ones? Also yes. Does Castlevania take risks? No. No, it does not. I'm not saying that a show has to take a bunch of risks to be good. Let's not confuse what I'm saying. I'm just saying that sometimes that's the recipe for fucking discovering greatness. I feel like when they started a season of TNG and they decided which episodes they were going to produce, I feel like there's probably a lot of episodes they thought, man, this is going to be fucking great, and then it sucked. And there's probably episodes that are like, fuck, we just need to fill some time. I guess this one looks alright. And then they turn out being awesome. Like, there's an episode where fucking Beverly Crusher fucks a ghost or some shit. And it's terrible. I think it's called, like, Inner Light or something like that. Whatever. It's awful. It's a terrible episode. But you can tell that it was, like, one of the ones they spent, like, more budget on than usual. Like, they did a lot more effects shots and some pretty elaborate set pieces and shit for it. Obviously thinking it was like, man, we got a good one here, guys. This is gonna be great. And it's one of the worst episodes of the show. And then there's episodes that they really don't seem like much. Like an episode that clearly was just a filler episode was Data's Day. There's not much really going on dramatically. It's just kind of a day in the life of Data, and it was obviously super easy to shoot. There was not a lot of money spent on it. It's a fucking awesome episode. You bring me closer to God. Sounds boring as fuck. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you would find it boring. I don't know. But I don't really know your sensibilities. But all I can say is, for me, it's an awesome episode. Do you think Picard should have a family in the new show? I don't really know. That's up to them. No, I'm not watching South Park anymore. I'm done with it. Done with South Park. No more South Park. Sci-fi shows / movies need more money and stop being so cheap and corny. I disagree with that. I think that low-budget stuff can be great because, if you're not asking for as much money, you're usually allowed to do more shit. If your show is cheap to produce, you can usually do cooler things because, the more money you're asking for from some sort of big production company or studio, the more they're going to be like, we like it, but we don't like the part that makes the whole thing make sense. Get rid of that and add a monkey in there. We think it needs a monkey. So, I don't know. Low budget is the way to go. Low budget sci-fi is almost always better than big budget sci-fi for that reason. How long has South Park been shit? Probably 5 seasons or so now. That's why I'm done. It's like, how many fucking times am I gonna watch this show on the strength of its past? You know? At some point I gotta just say, alright, enough. You're not getting any more of my fucking attention. High budget is often used to hide how bad the script is. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I don't even know if it's necessarily that. I just feel like the more money the studios give to a production, the more input they want, and the shittier it gets because the studios are garbage. And they base their decisions not off of genuine creativity, but, you know, market research. And, oh, we found people like this thing, so let's put that in there, even though it doesn't fit. And we found people don't like these sorts of things. Like, they're the kind of assholes, like, when they were shopping Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, they had to finance pretty much the whole movie themselves. Wes Craven and his partner, whose name I unfortunately forget, they finance the movie, they shoot the whole fucking thing, they shop it around, and a lot of the studios they shop it around to at first are like, yeah, we're not interested because our market research shows people are not interested in movies about dreams. What? I mean, what? It was a huge hit. It spawned like 1 million sequels. Audiences don't know what the fuck they want. Fuck audiences. I really don't understand the modern South Park hate. It's still way more clever than anything you'll find on Family Guy or The Simpsons. I don't watch The Simpsons either. And Family Guy I watch is like background noise. So, I don't know. Maybe South Park will be a background noise show. But I mean, the thing about Family Guy is, like, pretty much from its inception, it was like a turn your brain off show. South Park used to be great. Just like The Simpsons used to be great. So it's hard to watch it now and be like, oh, this is about 20% as good as it used to be, but that's okay. I accept that. Do you like BoJack Horseman? Yeah, it's a great show. I think South Park now is better than current Simpsons. I mean, that may be true. I don't have any basis of comparison because I don't watch The Simpsons, and I've recently decided not to watch South Park. So, all right, maybe I'll go give the first episode a fucking chance. But if it sucks, I'm done. I'm well and truly done. It's worth it. Trust us. All right, I'm going to check it out, and I'll let you guys know. I'm going to go watch it now.